Social media helps with the comfort level so much that even if it drives you no business, like again, people just feel so comfortable here. They've already decided they're having surgery by the time they get here.
Hello and welcome to Beauty and the Biz, where we talk about the business and marketing side of plastic surgery. I'm your host, Catherine Maley, author of Your Aesthetic Practice, What Your Patients Are Saying, as well as consultant to plastic surgeons to get them more patients and more profits. Now, today's special guest is Dr. Pamela Brownlee. She's a plastic surgeon focusing on cosmetic body procedures such as tummy tuck, breast lift with AUG, lipo, and BBLs. Now, she's founder of a private practice named Bombshell Aesthetics. We'll talk more about that. It's located in Frisco, Texas, which is about 35 miles outside Dallas. And she's been in private practice for a whole year now. Now, originally from Michigan, Dr. Brownlee completed her medical training at Lake Erie College of Osteopathic Medicine in Seton Hill in Pennsylvania, then a 5-year general surgery residency at the University of Florida in Jacksonville, Florida, then specialized training at the University of Mississippi Plastic and Reconstructive Surgery Residency Program. And if that wasn't enough, she completed an additional year of advanced training as an aesthetic plastic surgery fellow in Dallas, Texas. Now, Dr. Brownlee speaks at the medical conferences on body procedures, as well as social media. And in her spare time, she and her husband love to travel and volunteer at animal shelters. Dr. Brownlee, thank you so much for joining me at Beauty and the Biz.
I'm so happy to be here. This is such an important thing that people going into new practices have. And I wish I would have found you sooner, saying that I just opened my own practice. This would have been such a helpful tool to hear what other people have done, the struggles they've gone through, maybe feel not quite so alone in all the struggles that you go through as a new business owner.
That's exactly why I started this podcast. You're all on your own out there and you don't know what's going on in the world with everyone else. But then again, you don't want to focus too much on everyone else because then you lose your own insights. But just keep watching because there's more coming. So in the meantime, how in the world did you choose plastic surgery over every other specialty?
So my whole life, I knew I was going to be a plastic surgeon, and I have 0 doctors in my family. They're all engineers. They're like, why would you want to do this? Blood and guts, like engines and oil are so much cooler. But when I was younger, so when I was 9 months old, my dad was carrying me in a carrier and I fell out of the carrier and smashed my face. And so it was a whole thing. My maxilla, so my upper jaw, didn't grow correctly. It was too narrow. All of the roots of my teeth got messed up. So literally from the time I can first remember, I was either in a dentist's office, a specialized dentist's office, a facial surgeon's office, or some other kind of doctor dentist trying to fix my face. And so I feel like my whole childhood was just looking at before and after photos. My mouth was too narrow, it was a little bit set back, and then all of my teeth were messed up. So I know exactly what it's like to not want to look in the mirror, to not want to be photographed, to not want to smile, not have anyone see your mouth. And that's kind of how my childhood was. But I had the most amazing whole team of dentists, doctors, surgeons that helped me. And I admire them so much because they eventually got it to where they fixed everything. And I remember it was right before my senior photographs for high school. And it was the first time where I smiled. I felt confident. I felt good about how I looked. I felt like I could present myself to the world where I felt on the inside. And so growing up, if anyone asked me what I was going to be, I was like, I'm going to be a surgeon that makes people feel better about themselves. I'm going to be a surgeon who gives somebody back a piece of their life that they didn't have. So I was always going to be a plastic surgeon. I took the long road doing general surgery and then plastics, but it was always the end game.
Well, I have to ask, have you forgiven your father yet?
Oh my gosh, it's certainly not his fault. He had his hands full and I tipped myself out of the seatbelt, out of the carrier. So I'm sure anyone who has kids will tell you that kids have an amazing ability to just find their way out of things. But my dad and I are best friends. We talk every single day of our lives. So yes, I've definitely forgiven him.
Well, he was probably more traumatized than you.
That's what he says. And I say it was lucky for me because, growing up, he never said no to me. He always made sure I had the things I wanted because he felt so bad about it.
Oh my God, that's crazy. So we have to talk about the linear road between fellowship to private practice. And I know it's not linear. I know it's all over the place. So let's talk about fellowship, because I think that's gotten more and more important for everyone to go through a fellowship with a practice that actually understands the business and marketing side of plastic surgery. So can you talk on that?
Absolutely. So I did general surgery. I was a board certified general surgeon. I did plastic surgery. And then it came down to, I want to do aesthetic surgery. And do I want to do a fellowship or not? And if I do, where do I want to do it? And I went back and forth on this for so long. I asked every single person I knew, every single doctor I knew, do I do it? I know so much. I'm already a board certified general surgeon. Why would I do another year? And ultimately, I am so glad that I did it, because you might know how to operate, although you've definitely learned more in fellowship. I'm not saying that you're a pro coming out of residency, but you have no idea about just the day-to-day practice things. And I'm talking like post-op instructions, right? Like, yes, in the hospital in residency, like you kind of know what you tell a recon patient or someone you're discharging from the floor, but aesthetic is so different, right? Like you got to do all the hand holding. So I learned everything from like the post-op instructions and how to present them, how does the flow of a clinic work to be the most profitable, right? How do you use staff in a way that is, the doctor can maximize the amount of patients they're seeing, as well as the marketing, the social media. I was with Dr. Obaid at NTPS in Dallas for my fellowship, and he had a whole social media team. They were with us in the OR, they were with us in clinic, and I learned so much about marketing, working with influencers, right? Like, and it's not just, hey, this is how you do it. Just these are the contracts you need as a business to protect yourself if you're working with influencers, and like how you make sure that you get, as a business, get them to post, like things you would literally never think about in residency. But after that year, I came out knowing this. He had 5 practices around Dallas. So again, he's a huge practice. We went to all of them. So you got to see how different teams, different offices, different locations worked. And I think that he really helped influence my choice of like going into private practice, because I saw how you could map it out to be effective without having to learn every horrible lesson by myself as a new private practice.
It takes time and effort to make all those mistakes,
That it does.
You can avoid some of them, although they always say you're never going to. You just have to live through it yourself, But I don't know. There are a few that you could have just skipped,
Exactly.
So did you have some kind of non-compete or something in Dallas? Because you ended up in Frisco, right? And that's 35 miles outside of Dallas. How did you decide on that location?
So we actually took kind of a strange route. So when I was finishing my fellowship, I knew that ultimately I was going to have my own private practice. And anywhere you are, you're going to have a non-compete if you join another practice, right? So we thought to ourselves, my husband and I, we thought, hey, we're going to go somewhere else for a year, build up all the things we need to make a business, make like all of the actual like business licensing, make a website, all of that goes somewhere. We were looking for places to go. And my husband, unfortunately, was diagnosed with cancer right at the end of my fellowship. So again, kind of a freak thing. He ruptured his appendix, and then we found out. So we had to shift kind of immediately and find a job that was within driving distance of MD Anderson. So that actually took us to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, which we don't have any family there. So it's kind of a new experience for us, but we found an amazing practice there that had a similar setup to Dr. Obaid's, where it had multiple clinics around the state, a big operating room, a great staff, very well established, all aesthetic medicine, because I didn't want to do insurance work. Especially with my husband going through chemotherapy and whatnot. I wanted to be able to be home for him and not have to go to the ER and do all of these things. So we went there for a year and a half, worked on the business aspect, and then came back to Dallas, came back 2 years ago. We're looking for a building. So I had my own business at that point, but we didn't have a building. So I found a surgeon who is here half the month and not here half the month. And so I rented half of his office and used his staff. So it's kind of like baby steps into the private practice while I looked for my own building. A year ago, I got my own building, and now I'm officially on my own in my own private practice.
Holy cow. I didn't know that about your husband. He is absolutely gorgeous, and he looks very healthy on Instagram. So is all well now?
He's good now. He still has some GI issues that he's working with, but just went to MD Anderson 2 weeks ago and no signs of recurrence right now. So again, thank God for all of the wonderful doctors that do work in hospitals and that do take all these calls and MD Anderson. But we always say that we never thought any of that was going to happen, but it led us to the right place ultimately. So it really does mean everything is meant to happen for a reason.
I actually believe that. Yeah. And I think it works out eventually, Yes. At the time you're like, really? Are you kidding me?
Exactly. Like I was literally my last month of fellowship. It's finally time to pick which fun job I'm going to do. And then we get this diagnosis and you're just like, we were really just about to enjoy life. Like it's really had to happen right now.
Wow. And then you're like far from home. So you don't miss Michigan, or is he from Michigan? Or how did you end up, like, then you went to Florida? Like, how did you end up in Texas?
Yeah. So Jay, my husband, is a pilot for American. So he's based out of Dallas. Right now, he's not flying since he's still going through the treatments or the follow-ups and the scans and everything for MD Anderson, but hopefully he'll be back to flying soon. But we knew we wanted to be based here so that all of his flights can start and end here. Because before, when I was a resident, he was gone maybe 18 to 20 days a month because he had to fly to Dallas and then go on his trips, then land in Dallas and come back. So we knew Dallas was going to be our home. We don't have any family here, but we sure do have a lot of friends. And everyone in Texas, I feel like, is super, super friendly. So it is a really fun place to live, even if you don't have family.
Okay. And it looks like your office is in a shopping center area. Is that correct?
There are some shops near it. It's a little bit more... there's a lot of like schools, high schools. It's right off the tollway neighborhoods. I know that like I in particular, yes, there's like a gym next to here, some great restaurants, a nail salon. But other than that, it's like neighborhoods and high schools. I know what you would call it kind of area. Not a lot of like shopping around here.
I would call it mommy makeover country.
That's what I would call it too.
Yeah. So was that strategic on your end, I assume?
It was. We looked for a building for so long. And I'm saying I searched the entire DFW area every day on LoopNet, on all of those things in Fort Worth. I was like, maybe Fort Worth, maybe I can make that work. I checked every building every day and could not find a single one for a year. Not even one that I was like, eh. And then somebody I worked with actually at that other doctor's office, I was renting space. She said, I have my nails done at this place. And there's this end unit that has 20-foot ceilings with 3 giant walls of windows. So the whole thing is light. And it was a med spa and it just went out of business. The doors are chained and it literally says like out of business. And she said, you guys should check it out. And so I had been telling my husband, if I could be anywhere in the DFW area, I would be in this like 4-block radius. And it was right in that radius, which just happens to be a very fast growing part of the city. And so we went up and checked it out and the realtor was there and my husband's like, okay, like, and the guy's like, no, get out of here. Like we're already under contract with somebody else. No. And so my husband's like, can I just give you my phone number just in case? And the guy was like, no, get out of here. So my husband like insists, gives him the phone number. And I was like, God, that would have been so perfect. And then he called a month later and they were like, the contract fell through with the other people. Do you guys want it? And I was like, absolutely. Yes. So it was already built out as a med spa. I redecorated the inside, but I didn't have to tear down walls, change plumbing or electricity or anything. But I would say my business lesson from that is be persistent. If you see something you want, like insist that they get your number, even if they say they're under contract. I'm like, I'm so glad my husband like forced the guy to take his number.
The smartest practices know a big part of their practice growth comes from retention, referrals, and repeat treatments, not just from new internet stranger leads. That's why I created the KISS Loyalty Club, a done-for-you system that keeps your patients returning, referring, reviewing, sharing you on social media, and completing surgery. Discover how KISS can grow your own practice revenues by visiting kissloyalty.com today.
It's so helpful too that your husband, even though it's a shame he went through this right now, he has the time to help you.
Oh, yeah.
Hasn't that been instrumental?
Oh, it's been, I wouldn't be able to do it without him. I mean, there's so much to starting a business, right? Like just setting up the financing accounts so that you can take financing from patients, right? Setting up all of the Allergan, the Galderma, like just the stuff that like, yes, you can do it, but you don't have time to also be the surgeon who's still seeing patients and operating and setting up the new business and do this. So it has been instrumental having Jay be able to help me when he can. And here's a funny story. So I'm at the surgery center I operate the other day, and they were like, well, we talked to your husband, and it's so nice that you gave him an official position and name in your business. That's so great. We didn't know he officially worked there. And I was kind of like, yeah, haha. And I'm like, he works here because he loves me, but like, he doesn't like work here. And I'm like, okay. And then they said something about his email ending. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? And they're like, yeah, like you gave him a title. And I'm like, what title? I look at the email that he sent them, Director of Bombshell Aesthetics. So he has named himself the director. And I'm like, okay, well, that's fair. He does enough to be the director, but I'm glad he goes, I didn't think they would take me seriously if I didn't have a title. So I just gave myself any old title. I said director. Okay.
Well, at least he didn't say like, the sidekick.
Yeah.
Something like
exactly. Yeah. No, I laughed though. I was like, well, he does do the directing, so I guess it's fair.
Well, he deserves it. Where did you end up with the surgery part of that? Are you going to build out an OR? Are you going to continue to do it as surgery center? What's your situation with that?
So I'm not going to build out an OR here only because it's 5 rooms of a clinic, and I just feel like there's not room. My goal is that this is the first of several bombshell aesthetics, though, that we continue to grow. And the next place I get, I'm going to have my own surgery center. So I think anyone who owns a private practice will tell you that like it is so much easier if you are just in control of your schedule. You're in control of the products you use in the OR. You're in control of the timing for anesthesia and whatnot. So in the long run, that is definitely like in the next 5-year plans.
Everybody who's been on this podcast, nobody has ever complained that they had built out an OR and they with it, I mean, it was a game changer. It was difficult to do. It's difficult to get certified every 2 years or whatever. It's a pain in the neck, but the time that they've saved and the autonomy and the control over their environment is priceless.
It's incredible. And it's always been the goal. When I was moving here, there's some other plastic surgeons in the area who also have like a single practice like me. And we had met to see like, hey, is it something we all want to kind of do together? But it turns out getting like 4 people who own 4 different practices trying to agree on anything is probably not going to be your easiest task. So I don't think that's going to happen, but I'll definitely have my own OR so that I can just control the schedule, control the patient experience and what they see, how they're treated, every aspect of it.
I would recommend you do it on your own, just saying. So now that leads us to staff, because now you're not just a new surgeon. Now you're now you own a building. Now you have to learn all the finances, and now you have to hire people. How did you go about that, and who was your first hire?
So going about it, everybody that I had talked to is like, staffing is the worst part. And I was like, yeah, I know working with staff is hard. Like, I've seen it in the practices I've been in. Until you are the business owner and you are having to deal with the issues with staff, like you cannot fully appreciate just how hard it is to find someone who, one, like cares remotely about the practice, right? So no one's going to care about it as much as you, right? It's your baby. I know that. But who, like understands that you can't just talk however you want to patients, right? If a patient is kind of upset with you, you can't just yell at them and hang up the phone, You can't call in and say, I have a tummy ache, or just not show up because you had a tummy ache and not tell anyone, but so the whole rest of the staff is counting on you and being there. One of the hardest things I think is being a young female and then having young female staff, because I do believe there is a difference between guys, because I will say all of the girls, even that I have now, like they defer to Jay, my husband. Whatever he says is good. If I say something, it's questioned, right? If it's a lot of times like I finish with a patient in a room, and if I'm like, hey, can you clean the room so that we can see the next patient? It's a little bit like, she couldn't clean it herself. And you're kind of like, I actually, I have other patients waiting, would you say that to a male doctor, or would you be like, oh, he's busy. He's got important doctor things to do. Right. But so there is this like differential of like, if I don't help do every single thing, that is kind of like, she's kind of mean, isn't she? Like but my husband says it, they're like, oh my gosh, yes, absolutely, sir. And I'm like, so maybe other females have also said this to you, or maybe maybe it's just me, but
it is what it is. I have learned to not fall back on it at all and not succumb to it either. I have learned as a woman, see, you're going to be the man comes off as a boss and we come off as it just is. So I have just learned, though, to stay professional, tell everyone these are your tasks. This is how we do the tasks here. You all have your metrics and your numbers. And I just try to keep it professional. And there's no way you have to bring it, though, because I can't have a staff person saying, well, why don't you do that? No, that can't be right. So I've just gotten much, much better at the business side of setting up the structure of it. And everyone real clear, what are your jobs there? Because it's not my job. It's your job, Yeah.
And I would say that's probably the biggest mistake of all the things that I've done looking back. I think that in the beginning, I was like, oh, well, I want them to think I'm a good boss. And so, so for example, where my office is now it's big. It's a big office. You could fit multiple people in there. And so I said, hey, I'm going to give up that office. I'm not just going to have my giant corner window view and everyone else is crammed into places. I'm going to make that a collaborative, practice manager, PCC, nurse were all in there. So they were spread out enough that they weren't on top of each other, but then they could easily communicate. I was like, I'm going to make it collaborative. I'm going to make it, a think space place. I want fresh ideas. I want that. And it quickly became that's a terrible idea. First of all, it was just she was listening to my phone call, and so I didn't feel comfortable talking, and so I just didn't return any patient calls or schedule any consults today. So it quickly became that. So and then two girls didn't get along, so I actually had to give that girl my small office so that I could go sit in the communal room. So it was me, the doctor, in with two or three other girls, and so then it quickly just became, if a patient called on the phone, they'd be like, I don't know, hold on, let me ask Dr. Brownlee. Hey, Dr. Brownlee. And then they would ask a simple question that they should know the answer to, but it quickly became this communal thing. And and me as a doctor, my time was so consumed with these minute tasks. And I set myself up for that, right? I did that by, instead of saying hey, I get it, we're all young girls, but this is your job. This is your job. This is your job. I tried to be the cool boss. I don't know what you want to call it. And I'd say that was my biggest mistake so far, is that you do need to have a little bit of that delineation of no, this is your task and your job and you need to do it, and only if you cannot, then escalate it to the next person and then to me. Don't just rely on me.
It's going to take time. It's just you have to feel it out, because it's also identity. You're so new at this. It's oh, and I'm the boss too. And you're right, though. You can't be the cool boss. You can't, because you're already too cool. They need to look up to you. You're not their friend. You have to be their role model,
Very much so. And I've learned that, and I've changed now, and I've changed it back to just my office and them in, the nursing station, the PCC station, so that they're kind of segregated. And so I'm slowly getting there, but I'll say for anyone new starting a business, do not go that route. You're not going to be the cool boss. You're going to be the boss that gets dumped on. And then the minute you do anything uncool, it's she's the worst,
Do you have any tips? What would you say, just the year that you've been doing this on your own, do you have any one or two tips that absolutely could save others from headaches of setting this thing up?
I would say if you're considering setting it up, you need to start getting all of your consents, post-op instructions. If you're at another practice, you need to start gathering them on what you want. It's probably one of the things that took me the longest. Was you're yeah, give them the post-op instructions. And everyone's okay, well, where are yours? And you're okay, I actually have to type these up with and yeah, I know them. I can tell a patient them, but to actually physically type them up in a professional heading and whatnot it's just time. It's tedious. So I would say if you're like, I'm going to join or I'm going to create my own private practice, you need to start doing that. And then same with the website. That was one of the things that we created my website when we came back to Dallas, but before I got this building. So when I was at the other doctor's office that I was renting space at, and you can't drive a ton of patients to yourself without a website. So luckily, that guy who I was renting space from, like, let me go onto his website and he helped promote me. And then I have my social media. But if I had just shown up and been like, I'm starting a private practice, like no one has any idea of how to find me. There's no phone books anymore. Like if you don't do a lot on social media, then you don't have that. And I don't have a website. So, but please come see me. That would be a tough thing. So get those things started early while you're creating your business and everything. And that way, when you start, you've got some patients who've heard about you. They have a place to reference for before and afters, or, to kind of get the vibe of your place. And then when they show up, you actually have forms to give them, right? Like the HIPAA consent that everyone needs when they come into any office. And you're just like, I have never had to make that before. Let me make sure I make it legally and that it's all correct. So get those things started early.
Yeah. AI can help a lot with that nowadays. That's been like a game changer for a lot of people.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Do you have any plans? You did mention multiple locations. Are you thinking big here for the scaling?
I think so. I mean, that's always been my dream is I want to create a very boutique practice, but that has multiple locations. I have a lot of people who travel in from out of state for me, from all around the country and from a couple of different countries too. And, I make them come here for their pre-op. They have to come for surgery. I have to stay for 2 weeks afterwards. But afterwards, it'd be great if they had other locations that they could go to and that to do their follow-up care that provided the same super high standard that I have here at my first practice for all my patients. So I think it's very doable. I think that female plastic surgeons are, becoming more and more in demand as we realize that this is a possibility and that you can have somebody who's qualified, fellowship trained, double board certified, who also understands what bra fat is and understands what it looks like to change your swimsuit 10 times because you didn't like how you looked in it. And so more and more people are looking for that female plastic surgeon touch, but also I think so many places have just gotten into volume that the experience is gone. And now when they can go anywhere and they are paying cash, they're like, why would I go to a place where I'm just a number or just, you're just like, yeah, give me your money. I'll do it. And I'm going to throw you out and no post-op care really, So what I provide is a very specialized service. We are very, very closely involved with all of our patients. I think any of my patients will tell you that they all have my phone number. I've got people who I did their tummy tuck several years ago, and now they're still texting me and saying, hey, what jeans do you think would look best on my body now that this is done? And, I'm still there for them. My team is still there for them. So I think that if we can create this place that people feel safe, that they will come, right? And when they come, then I will build more buildings for them and their own surgery center so that they can come to this safe place where they know they're well taken care of.
Do you find, you probably don't know, but you're young and you're very pretty. How many women are funny? We're catty as heck. Do you find that some of them are intimidated by you, jealous of you, envious? Do you get any resistance? Or I guess not, because then they wouldn't be visiting you probably. But what do you think about that? Women with women are it's.
Yes, women with women are the toughest crowd. I'll say probably 95% of the people that come in here come through my social media. So I think they know what they're expecting and they've sought me out. So I do not encounter it here. I did encounter it a lot when I worked in hospitals or maybe somewhere where again, people were more surprised by how I look, or, a lot of people think oh, if you're pretty, then you're dumb, but I think most of my people who come here at least know, no, she's double board certified. And also she gets it. She understands, kind of what I'm looking for. Again, not everyone is looking to look like me. I'll say the people who seek me out are like, she understands like tummy fat. I have a lot of stories where I talk about these things. She understands what it's like to be self-conscious, right? I talk about the trauma I had when I was a kid a lot, like, because I didn't smile. I don't think you would find a photo of me smiling as a child because like my whole mouth was messed up, right? So I know what that's like. I know what it's like to be the weird person and like not want to see a photo of yourself, not want to look in the mirror. And so I think people, at least now, say like, hey, she went from like caterpillar to butterfly. And, even if I want to be a different butterfly than her, she at least gets it and like understands that like, it is a process and it does take a lot.
I would tell that story because otherwise you just look like an unbelievable goal to achieve, and on top of that, you're absolutely like skinny. And so half the women are definitely going to dislike you. So you have a mountain to climb there, but it seems like you're doing it just fine. So let's talk about social media because you are crushing it on social. Is that coming natural to you? Did somebody teach you how to do that? You have really killer personality posts. You're very good at it. You got me for a good 45 minutes yesterday researching you, and I thought, what am I doing here? I got to get off this.
Well, I appreciate it. I love being on camera. I love talking. I love sharing stories. So I think it came naturally to me. Anyone who's a resident knows that like you're kind of restricted in residency, right? Like what you can post. So if you'll notice that my TikTok, my more educational posts or more things I did start in my fellowship, which again, shout out to Dr. Obaid, had a great social media team. He was always preaching about how important it is to educate people, to be fun. And so he gave us a lot of freedom to do that during fellowship. I got lucky that when I was a fellow, we had our own fellow clinic where people could come and see us and we could do their surgery as opposed to like Dr. Bader or one of the other people. And so I got lucky that I had some really great people who were also on social media and they came to me for surgery and then they would post me in the Facebook groups and everything around here. So my name got known and it helped me grow my account a lot. But I mean, social media is a beast. I kind of self-taught, nobody talks about like your 10,000 videos that failed that nobody saw, that nobody liked, nobody commented on, but they remember the couple viral ones you had. So to me, it's all just been like collecting data, right? I post a video and it flops. I'm like, okay, so that's not what people are looking for. Good to know. I won't do that again. Or maybe it's not that topic, or maybe, now on TikTok, you're so restricted on if you say anything related to Botox, filler, anything cosmetic surgery, it'll restrict you. So you're like, okay, good to know. I can't use those words anymore. So it's all kind of like evolving and self-taught.
Geez, how much time are you spending on it?
Oh gosh, I'd say the last like month because things have been so busy growing this practice, and busy is a good thing. Busy makes you money, but it's harder to make social media, which again is what drives busy. So it's like a catch-22. But I usually try and make like at least a video a day, whether it's educational, whether it's funny, whether it's something to show the building so that when people show up, they feel comfortable, right? When they show up, they go, oh yeah, no, I've seen that before. Oh, I know that she has all of these, the hair ties and the hairspray and everything in the bathroom, that it seems familiar. And so it's not scary when people come here, right? Like when they see like videos with the front desk people and they're like, oh my gosh, I know her. I saw her in the video. It's not scary to come here. This isn't a weird, uncomfortable doctor's office. Like I know these girls. I know this doctor. I feel comfortable with her. I know that she's had terrible things happen in her life with her husband. And when people see my husband here, they recognize him from social media and they're like, oh my gosh, is that Jay? Is he here? So I think social media helps with the comfort level so much that even if it drives you no business, like again, people just feel so comfortable here. They've already decided they're having surgery by the time they get here because they're like, oh yeah, I know her. I know her ethics. I know who she is. I know her personality. So it helps.
For sure. How did you end up with the name?
Okay, so everybody, I keep telling myself I need to make a video about this, but everyone's like, oh, you're so full of yourself. Like you're a bombshell. It was not a flattering name when it was given to me. I'll say that. I got the name when I was a general surgery resident, and I was known for being a very tough, very high standard chief of general surgery residents. So that makes you a great doctor, it makes you a great teacher, does not make you the most fun person to work with or the most popular out of all of the residents there, right? When I would say, hey, you didn't go see this person, you didn't check these labs, you need to do this. And although I was friends with all the residents, like there were times when I would get mad and I would be like, hey, you got to do this. This is really important. This is someone's life, blah, blah, blah. And so they always said that I was fragile like a bomb, not like a flower. And so they called me Dr. Bombshell because they never knew when I was going to go off on them.
That's very funny. And it's stuck. Yeah. I must say, if you're going to, it's like Dr. Miami or Dr. Chitty, I can't remember your name, Brownlee, but now I'll remember the bombshell, know?
So I feel like half the patients, when they come in here, I'm not even sure that they know my name. They'll when we're in there, they'll be like, okay, Dr. Bombshell, what do you think? So I feel like it's just a little easier to remember. It makes it easier for the business, right? Bombshell Aesthetics. So people know what to look up and what to Google if they're looking for it.
The only issue is social media wants it to be so gosh darn personal. So I would say buy your name in everything, every channel, but also buy Bombshell in every channel too.
Oh yeah. I think that we've been working on like trademarking, like every aspect of Bombshell. Obviously like Bombshell Aesthetics was taken obviously when I was creating a name. And so I was kind of like, well, what am I going to call it? And a lot of my patients, after surgery, they're like, I'm so glad that I decided to get Bombshell. That's just kind of how they refer to it. And so I thought, you know what, Bombshell Aesthetics, like let's look towards that after goal. Let's look towards that after photo and that happy feeling you get afterwards. So like, you're going to come here, you're going to get Bombshell, you're going to feel great about yourself. So I just figured that would be the perfect name to go along with my social media name.
Oh, that's fantastic. What's your demographic there? I'm assuming it's the young moms who have had 2 kids and are ready to get their body back.
I would say probably majority young moms. Probably like massive weight loss patients are probably my other one. I have a lot of people who have done like incredible weight loss journeys, like 100, 200 pounds weight loss. And now they're ready to get rid of that loose skin. So those are probably my 2 most popular. I feel like more and more young people are coming, but Frisco is a little bit more like yuppie mom area than 22-year-old, Dallas crowd. But more and more young people are coming up here.
And are they local? Or the thing about social media is that it gives you a much bigger outreach for your audience. And that's why you're getting the out-of-towners and out-of-country probably, because Google won't. I mean, I'm trying to find you online and they say, don't you want someone closer to you? And I said, not now. Well, can I see Dallas, please? Because I'm in California. So do you find that is like how much of your new patient flow is coming from social media versus, let's say, your website?
Oh, I would say, so we ask every patient who comes in, like every consult is like, how did you hear about Dr. Brownlee? Because obviously you want to track those things so that you can put more into the things that work and take away from the things that don't. So even if somebody like booked a consult on my website, I would say probably 90 to 95% of my patients come from social media. So they'll say like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok is how they originally heard about me. And then probably the other ones are like word of mouth. My friend saw her on Instagram and told me I should come here. Social media makes her outreach like amazing. I have patients from New York, Oklahoma, Arkansas, surrounding states, New York, Alaska, Florida, California, Oregon, Michigan, so you can have this reach. These people would have never heard of you before, right? They would have never even known to look for you, but now they saw someone that they connect with. And a lot of times, pretty much every time, people are like, I went to some local plastic surgeons and they wouldn't listen to what size I wanted. They just kept telling me like, hey, you have to get this size. Like they wouldn't listen to like the concerns of, my flanks, right? They were like, no, you don't need an extended tummy tuck. They didn't listen to me. And then I saw your videos and you seem like you genuinely listen to people. And so it's worth it for me to fly in, stay for 2 weeks. Cause I'm super strict. As if the name Dr. Bombshell in the story I told you didn't tell you, I'm super strict with my patients too, but they're like, it's worth it to me to come and have a team that actually listens and cares versus going to someone local. So I feel like it's great for patients. It gives them more options than just like, okay, well, I guess I have to choose one of the 3 people I didn't like in town. And now they can go and find somebody who actually like they vibe with. And then same with me, it helps me as a new surgeon reach things that, like you said, unless you're in my area, I'm not going to come up on your Google search. So how do you grow when you're squashed by all of the like Google AI algorithm things?
There's something else you're doing that's unusual. So you have your own skincare line, which is not unusual, but it's a very nice skincare line. You probably white labeled it. Then you have like, you hold like another vendor's skincare line. It's fine. And then you have your own Amazon store. Now, for those of you who haven't been to her store, she sells boots, eyelashes, t-shirts, purses. Like, I've never seen that before. And I am dying to hear, is that a nice revenue stream? And who's doing the fulfillment? And how in the world are you pulling that together right now in your first year out?
So for me, it's not a great revenue stream. I mean, it started as I had made an Amazon storefront because I have so many patients who are like, well, what's, after 6 weeks when I'm out of the garments that you told me to use, like, what's next? Like, what's another good garment? What's a good wedge pillow to use after surgery? Things like that. And I was constantly being like, okay, well, I have this list that I've collected over the years that patients have sent me that I liked and that they liked that were comfortable, So I was like constantly having to send that, like after a clinic visit, I have to be like, oh yeah, gosh, I didn't send her that link. And so now I linked it all onto like my Amazon storefront so that we could just tell people, hey, we have QR codes here that people can scan, or we can send them the links and say, hey, here's this, and it's split up by body, breast, etc. So that's why it started. And then, like most people, I'm a huge Amazon girl, love to get stuff from Amazon. And so I feel like a lot of times when my patients come in, they're like, I love those boots. Where are they from? Then they're thinking like, some super high fancy thing. And I'm like, oh, no, I'm a new private practice person. These are strictly Target and Amazon, my friend, And so I'm like, oh, they're Amazon. And so it's same with like my eyelashes, right? And people are like, what eyelashes are those? And so again, I'm the kind of person who I'll be like, oh, I'll send you the link. And I'm like, oh, this is so annoying. So I've linked like the outfits I've got that people have asked about. I don't fulfill any of them. I think some of them are, like if someone were to go, like, would I get money on some of them? You don't get money on every product. It's only if the product is affiliated with like like the storefront revenue. But I mean, it's not a huge moneymaker, but I'll say that I have people all the time be like, hey, I got those sandals that you had on there and I wore them to a wedding and stuff. So I do always love when people share like what they got that they were, oh, I thought that was perfect. So I got it. So
are you kind of the affiliate for them? So it's like a Shopify website and then you're just the like toll booth?
No, it's more like think of like Amazon influencer, if you will. So if you promote certain things that are promotable for money, I guess, then you can make money off it. Now you can promote anything, right? I can post anything I got on Amazon and people can see it. But if they buy it through my link, I won't necessarily get paid for it if it is not part of the things that are eligible to get payment for.
But you're not doing any of the fulfillment or anything. You're like have an affiliate link, right? Like somebody else is fulfilling it and then you just get a piece of that, right?
Yep.
That is so interesting. What's your most popular item on there?
Probably these brown boots that I got like 2 years ago. That I still like get emails to say like, like somebody got these boots, and then of all things, this sunglasses that I got for Jay, like as a joke for Christmas one year. But those are probably the two biggest things outside of surgery. Otherwise, it would by far be the garments that like, again, post-op garments that somebody's out and they're not ready to stop using their garment, like what's comfortable to wear on their clothes. So that's by far the biggest thing.
Gotcha. No, I like it. Jay's sunglasses look good on him. I just think that's so interesting because it will all lead back to you. So it's like in today's world, it's almost like you have this little marketing spider web and everything connects if you do it right. everything keeps leading back to you somehow, and especially with websites now, guaranteed they're on your Instagram or TikTok before they get to the website, almost for sure, versus the other way around. Although your SEO looks very good, I might add. So we're going to wrap it up now, but tell me a crazy patient or staff story you care to share.
Gosh, okay, let me think. Crazy patient story. I don't know. I mean, I feel like mine are all pretty fairly boring or like routine things. So I luckily haven't had anything too crazy happen since like opening up here. Oh, girl, don't I know it? I know that it's coming every day. I just kind of live in fear that it's going to happen. Crazy staff story. I would say, again, probably one of the mistakes of like being a new business owner is when you hire friends, right? So I had two people who are friends that were here, and one kind of had a mini meltdown and the other witnessed it. And I'm being nice in case they hear this ever, but mini meltdown. And then after that, like the way your entire business can just like collapse from like two people causing havoc and like doing stuff on social media to like go against you. And again, I'm trying to not say too much, so it's not too identifiable, but I would say staff is the worst. So anybody who's listening to this who is either starting practice or who is also suffering through like the, oh my gosh, is this really happening? I mean, there was a time when I got down to one staff member. I went from like 6 to 1, like, and you're just like, how did this happen? Like what led up to this, and like God bless her and I, like we just held it together. We held down the fort. We did every aspect of it. So if anyone else is going through this out there and is like, what am I doing wrong? Just know that we all go through this. And that it takes a while to find a team that like, again, cares at least partly as much as you do, right? Like cares at least a little bit about the patient experience and what you're doing. And that like, it's going to be reliable. It's so hard to find reliable people. It's impossible these days.
Yeah, their idea of 8:30 is really 8:45, and I didn't come from that world. You're from Michigan, I'm from Chicago, and the Midwest. Like, it's just had such a different work ethic. And when I moved out to California, I thought, boy, this place is a trip. Like, you can make plans with 3 different people and maybe one of them will actually show up. It's so crazy. Yeah.
Oh, it's wild. So when I started, one of the girls I had, she was late every single day. And this is like literally brand new business. Like we're still in like, just starting to see patients, but like nobody knows how to get stuff ready in the morning. So like you really need them to be there on time so you don't look like an absolute fumble, right? And so we were like, hey, you got to be here on time. You're showing up at like 8:50 every day. And like all the other girls are having to do everything. They're complaining. And she was like, there's not a 15-minute grace period. And I was like, well, no, is there other places? Is there a 15-minute grace period at other places? And she was like, well, not my last job, but I thought that here there would be. And I was like, when did you get that impression? Like, no, 8:30 is the time you start. And she was so upset that there was not a 15-minute grace period for like when she could leave at the end of the day. Like if she wanted to leave at 4:45 instead of 5, like she thought there was a 15-minute grace period and then she wanted to stroll in like whenever. And I was like, is that a thing in other practices? Is there a 15-minute grace period?
You just have to be so darn specific in today's world and set your expectations. And literally, like, no food at the desk. Do not sit at the desk with your coat on 5 minutes before 5. It looks ridiculous.
Like, don't shut off all of the lights in the building when there's still patients here that like have to pay and stuff. And you're like, can you get out? And you're like, okay, we're taking their money now. Like, it's wild behavior, in my opinion.
Okay, and something more fun. Tell us something we don't know about you. And if you don't have anything, I'm going to say you're a dancer, but I have to qualify that. I don't know what kind of dancer. And I would love to talk about your animal shelters because I'm a huge dog lover. So does it include dogs?
I am a dancer. I've danced my whole life. I still love to do like cardio hip hop classes and stuff to try and like, I feel like it helps keep your mind sharp if you're having to remember routines and do stuff. It helps me relax, but also keep my mind sharp. But I'll say my husband and I are huge animal lovers. My goal has always been to create an animal shelter. My husband, when we first got together, he wasn't like, he liked animals, but not really a lot. I had a cat. It was a war between them in the beginning. She peed in his suitcase secretly, and he left a suitcase in his brand new BMW in the hot sun in Florida. And so the whole thing smelled like cat pee. And then he told me I had to get rid of her. And then I almost got rid of him. But anyway, they are the best of friends now. He loves this cat more than he loves me. First one to get huggies and kisses when we get home is the cat, not me. And then we started when Jay was going through chemo and he couldn't work and we were in Baton Rouge. We started volunteering at this cat shelter in Baton Rouge. And he would go every day and like sweep the litter boxes. And then when I would get out of work, like I would go meet him. And I, of course, just played with all the little cats while he did the hard work. But we rescued a cat from there. And so we keep saying that we're doing all of this so that we can make enough money so that we can have our own animal shelter, a little bombshell animal shelter, so that they can all live their best bombshell lives somewhere in peace.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's a great purpose, by the way. So if anybody wanted to check you out, your website is bombshelled, bombshelled.com. And then your Instagram is Dr. Bombshell. Yeah?
Yeah, ma'am.
You should really check it out, everybody. She's very, very entertaining. And with that, I thank you so much. I'll be watching your work. You're off to a really good start. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone, that's going to wrap it up for us today. If you would, please review and subscribe to Beauty and the Biz. It helps me grow my audience. And then if you've got any questions or feedback for me, please leave them on my website at katherinemaley.com, or you can certainly DM me on Instagram at KatherineMaleyMBA. Thanks so much, and we'll talk again soon.
The fastest way to success is to model other successful surgeons who have what you want, but you can only see their results, not the path they took to get there. So you continue to jump from one thing to another, hoping to find something that will work for you too. But it rarely does. So try this shortcut instead. It's guaranteed to move you forward. I compiled my intellectual property to grow cosmetic revenues, everything I've gleaned over the years, into one playbook of the most successful practices and what they do to win. Go to cosmeticpracticevault.com and let's grow your cosmetic revenues.